in the attempt to carry on.
In September 1994, over 60 children from this school in the suburbs of Harare, Zimbabwe, witnessed several objects landing and two beings coming out. What did Buddha feel like when he was looking at you? It felt scary? What was scary about it? Because I've never seen such a person like that.
Shape-shifting demonic. Quite clear the gaslighting, the Freemason subject gets the attention, doesn't it? Of you are connected to the dark occult and Satan's. Your time's up. You do Animarchy, the non-human, the shape-shifting demons. Educates after all, and how what they do with mind control, you know, it's not too. It's deliberate. I've got all this evidence. So much evidence. Letters, record posts. I mean, this is very long time. So the mind, the triggers, they use the mind to control. So the foot soldiers are the demonic devil, you know. It's just this devil world. It's automated recording this and monitoring everything one does on this physical existence, because the transhumanism is the ultimate plan. And they really hate those that are connected to the tribe of Dan. And when you look at your biblical history, and you see that the human DNA is non-human DNA, so we have some type of reptilian blood in us. I'm not sure what the percentages is, but if you don't believe there is such things, shape shifting, and all day, they've done it again like they did in 2018, and I passed manipulate my dreams. I've got audio evidence of that, and what I can remember, what, because I write it down after, what the dreams are. And sure enough, the perpetrator, the gaslight you see around here in England, you can't imagine how much extensiveness. There's this frequencies they use to alter emotions. There's a guy over in America called David, he did an excellent video about this. But when they're targeting me and using their frequencies, so I was trying to drink. When you, what is it? It's like soul catching. They gotta go. It's not fair. They like got a trigger to get emotions, to get that kind of negativity, and they're psychopaths. Those that are wandering around their souls have been taken already. And they're sellouts. Oh, they're afraid all this is going to happen to them. For them to play along with all what's going on. But all these sellouts around here, oh, they get everything they need, no problem. But you see, when it's a well-known in England, that is one of the housing companies involved, actors, I mean, big business, isn't it? Big commerce, you know. But when you learn about law and you've got, and you see a pattern, you keep a diary of events, you see the whole bloody pattern. One man. Why? Because I uncovered paedophilia. Yeah, pedos. Demonic, sick, evil, that do certain things to kids. It's disgusting. And I uncovered all this in the late 90s. By chance. I've never, and I will never talk about it. It's not my place. I'm not a whistleblower. You come after me. You do these despicable things to me. You make sure my life is completely impossible to exist, physically. And make sure, well, I found a lot of emails recently again. So you do the home invasion on the 10th of July 2017, which I didn't know what that was then. And then you cut the floor and the lino covering in my bathroom. So I thought it's a repair. You report it, you know, to the housing management maintenance. You would have thought at the correct department, but no, they screwed that one up. And then they, during 2017, they screwed all that up and lied. So I found out Mighty PLC in England has contracts with another public sector public company in England. And they also have a contract with Mears PLC, MPS Housing Limited, and the procurement contract with this housing company. It's the same one who has been well, to say these are planned end of times and the agendas are all part of it. Not just me. So on Dana Dane channel is a picture of a head with Dane channel is a picture of a head with like these implants. I mean the implants already there. The implants or the ball was a long time ago. And the mind control with Tabassot Institute in London was a long time ago. So you can imagine what technology they've got now. So they reroute without consent the demonic. It's like that they use my labs. There's so much evidence, and yes, their stream was trying to highlight that, but this just like these non-human, they haven't got any soul. They're gonna send, you know, it's always been victimization, discrimination. It's nothing but like this since I was much younger, and it is religion. You know, it's not like you don't need a church building to have a faith, But the one I was part of was this Freemasonry. I'd married one. And I didn't know, nor did my late mum knew what I've been involved with. So I got out of it at 18, just before. So you're not meant to leave. But they are with mind control and the brain interface technology in the hive mind, D-Wave, and a lot of these computers are based in Utah. There's plot of land. So the hive mind, I mean, what is it about people like myself that they're so interested in? So they have to re-traumatization. They put someone in my path, a serial killer, who's now dead. He's passed away. And I swear to goodness, he must have been himself being possessed. What happened? But you can't change what's happened. You just keep living with the effects. But what gets me now, the training needs to be more efficient. But they don't. There's a lack of compassion. There's a lack of duty care. I've got these reports to confirm who failed me in a practical sense, and why I learned so many subjects today I have learned and know about. But it doesn't matter now, does it? Because no matter what I do, the perpetrators, the lies, slanderous, whatever manipulation, it's so fabricated because this program is military based. So, for example, in England, you have Ministry of Defence, limited company as well, business and commerce, but to have the audacity to trigger me and so many wonderful people out there around the world for experimentation without consent with advancement of technology. So there is advancement in technologies of many subjects that's not publicly known. So they're soul catching. I woke up. Where the hell did I get a mark on my body when I went to bed? I wasn't there the night before. It's not a bruise. And I have evidence of recordings and some streams. It's not my natural sleep. So they manipulate my subconscious mind in that dream state. And so it doesn't matter what I play, affirmations and positivity, etc. They still do what they do. This is a spiritual war. Oh yeah. So I'm not perfect at all. Poor. But I would never kill babies. I never drink their blood. I never sacrifice people on altars. I never keep people in cages and underground dumps. You know, the real reason why these non-human entities are here, other than get that information out, but I'm not going to say anything about it. It's not my place. The multiple different dimensions do exist, and the advancement of the technologies interlinked with that is well, if you're into your chemistry or physics or neurosciences, then you can work it out, because you don't create TV shows and movies and Stargate and things like that just like that for the fun of it. For the visual individual, don't know no different about the bigger picture. Think it's a good film or movie, whatever. But there are breeders. They have children that survive just to have children themselves to be sacrificed. You believe that? So I've downloaded the book. I read quite a bit of it before. A survivor upon the Satanus, which is competent. These. It's interesting because I was watching David, I can't remember what it's called, Christ Forgiveness YouTube channel, and his baptism as a street preaching in Ireland, England. He's travelling around doing it. And he's a spiritual man. I was watching his body language, and his soul is either past himself, but his soul, he's corrected his pathway in life, and he's building up. He wants to build a ministry in different parts of the world. And so just, you could be careful of false teachings, false prophets. So yeah. I don't know if anyone's seen that movie called The Purge. I wouldn't be too surprised. The comedy cannot crash, literally, because a lot of these corporations worldwide have already invested in advancement in technology. And the smart, well, not really that smart, is it, when they want everything electric? But 5G technology is nothing compared to what they've got around the corner. But you see, that's just in the public domain. What the real technology is what they're experimenting on people like myself. But you see, those that work in England in their chosen profession, say medical, they know the biomedical data, medbeds, the biosensors ingestible into the human body, be like a neural network on the brain, but also with the physical body. So you remotely get care remotely. So you're in your own home, but you see, they've got to displace me out here and lie and cheat about it all again to get me forced into one of those environments without consent. Oh yeah, well yeah. It's just why they deliberately have been blocking my lawful right, despite the service charges, despite the rent being paid, that I've got grounds to sue for the psychological damage, practically. To not being able to use my full home and damaging my everyday life. And to extremes, I won't put it. Well, you cannot put it to words. And they want me to push along into the hands of no win, no fee. I love a battle. I love to take the demons on. Because you ain't gonna take my soul. You're trying. I've been trying all day today. Won't be sleeping much. Because you're triggering me all fucking day. All effing day. And the spirit, the demonic spirit of emotions, I don't know what you would call it really. Distractions to be emotional. Been putting the scriptures and positive affirmations on to keep focused. But I couldn't do anything practically. I've had a sandwich and a drink, but I can't. I won't be able to do much for people around me. They're not touched like me. So, what it is, they trigger memories. You know, the brain, the thoughts, memories. The brain neurons, they trigger them off and use frequencies with it to create reactions. Okay. And I knew they were doing it to me, but I couldn't stop it because it's so strong, very, very strong. I've only managed to just come to really focusing. And I knew this is a spiritual attack. Very, very strong spiritual attack. Quite a few attacks all day. I could feel the presence around me. That makes any sense. Because I needed to rest up because my body's run down in energy this week. I may have to come the attack when you lie physically in your health. They come emotionally attack you. You know, these dark forces. I got evidence, a video they hacked into my internet as I was researching something. So yeah. So in England, head office in London actually, another company who falsified their reports, by the way. Every national company in England connected in statute law, social housing. But really, they're independent companies. But that's what they quote generally. Well, all my evidence they didn't even look at, did they? My emails, there's quite a lot. And I was very efficient with my documents. It shows I was failed in the right to repair and the timescales in 2017. And that led me to have a heart attack at the end of the year, didn't it? And my daughter, her former daughter-in-law, witnessed it. So, but when you look at the past before that, there's a pattern of events that led me to move here. There was a guy that used to live opposite. It was a plan to break in my old house of 20 odd years and couldn't go back there. It's like repeatedly throughout my life is trauma. It is effects of trauma based events in my personal life. It's always has been. So I've been singled out like many people are, but they don't realise that until they get older. So my own mum and family, although they're not very nice, they only think about themselves. Portray a public image, but what they really do is a different story. But it's about forgiveness as well, and it's the hardest thing to do. It's the biggest, hardest thing to do is forgiveness. Especially when you know the perpetrators who's and if you don't have, it takes time, it takes patience, and it's hard when you get triggered at the same time and the memories come flooding. It's not just one memory of a trauma situation, it brings it all back. But how the brain I still keep, well, what a practical situation. One still needs to keep functioning. And I've now noticed how they do this to me anyway. And how this technology and the program works for me anyway. And I've realised to stop, and the body needs to not function, just physically, not do much at all, and let it out naturally, emotionally. And keep breathing, keep the techniques, coping strategies, knowing it's spiritual attacks on top. And I have some very good people to thank for that. That put me on that journey again in my life. Over a period of time on the spiritual side. And seeing, having the gift of sight, of insight, really. So, just your guardian angels. So that individual, what he did to me in 2002, for example, I didn't know a lot of things years ago like I do now. And all over the social media, it still goes on occasionally. True crime reports, though nobody knows, apart from the survivors of trauma, of events or serious events, what it's like. It's a bit like in the way if one survives a car crash, right? And I've been in one of those a couple of times. Or 3 in the thinking total. And but this is on a serious level. Your life is about to be killed. And the way it happens. And somehow there is an unseen energy force around you protecting you. And it doesn't happen, but you still don't know all these years on how you survive. And you are still surviving best you can be. Nobody tells you that the perpetrator died, You're lucky if you do. I was used as a key witness in a murder case when that man committed murder of 3 people. And I was lied to in 2005. I didn't know all this years ago. I can't change what's happened. And so I didn't expect to get run over in 2009 either on top. And I've got all this evidence that key puppet servants in England have failed me. They failed to realise that I'm in a wheelchair and at home with my care. I can't travel out of the child and I can't get to London. And I didn't know years ago, one of the dead victims' family, and she was a lovely woman, she had this lawyer, and the law company up north implied to me they could assist me, and I didn't know what the ins and outs were all about. I was too traumatised. And, you can do all this, that and the other for what's happened to you. But I didn't know, years on, that if I did take it off for funds, public funds by the way, that it will affect my financial situation years later. I did not know this. And the shock horror to 2019. So from that period of time onwards, I have been doing my utmost to learn more aspects of tort law, contract law, a lot of other subjects involved. They're entwined together really. And I had this report done. I didn't know either. Expert witness report. And what he did was go back in my childhood. Because this MILABS military black ops program is like, I don't know anybody else's experiences, but what I've been finding out, it basically, the trauma you experience as a child and you live to survive it follows you throughout your life, doesn't define who you are, but it's a part of your makeup and your psychological makeup in life, shall we say. But you see, I didn't know all this years ago, and it's like an awakening in 2018, and a lot more since. So they don't want this spiritual awakening to happen on earth. And there's something unique about people's souls who survive so much in their life and keep going, that they've got to keep trying to quash and put negativity back in their lives and keep them under wraps. So this is where the organised gang stalking comes in. And the lies, manipulations and documents and reports about wanting to discredit and to isolate the individuals away from your friends, your family. And I'm seen as a high target. I do not know why. I don't know what special gifts I've got compared to other individuals out there. But it's only because my ex-army brother, with my half brother, decided to put me into this program when I was 18. I found that one out. You see, what happened to my two brothers, well, my sister and brother, two of them are half brothers and sisters, and the other two are natural brother and sister. So what happened to them, I saw, witnessed firsthand at a young age. They're horrific things. And that guy eventually died. There's a guardian angel over there, and I know they do exist. But in such real serious trauma events, I've noticed people can say, what coincidence, but I do believe there are guardian angels around. Sometimes when your life gets all these things get in the way, you forget that it's there. Forget the presence. And so years later, my elder brother does the same things to his own kids, and I witness all this. His eldest son moves out because of it all. And all these years on, things happened to me in my personal life. And when I had my kids, I didn't know I couldn't have children the natural way. Natural way. And something, I don't know. I didn't even know the truth about how, still don't know the truth. I never will know the truth. about my father and his bloodline, and I wouldn't know the real origins. I know a little bit about my female bloodline, and they were natural healers. And but when you look at the teachings you're raised into religiously and the biblical history of mankind, basics anyway, you find out that mainstream side of life, a lot of it's been propagated, and it's taken me years to find this out. You cannot talk about certain subjects in a way anymore. I never thought at my age I'll see all this take place. I never thought that my own daughter, son, would disown me completely. I never thought my 4 grandchildren would be not being able to see a relationship with them. But I know now why, and that's a key aspect of it all, to keep punching me for the sake of their future. No matter what happens to me, my soul will keep moving on best I can in the circumstances I'm in, of not my doing. It's a bit like the couple of movies I've seen where they go after the Christian, the spiritual healers, and those with unique gifts about them. And they won't take the mark of the beast, or whatever you call it, which means different things, I'm sure, different people. And when they tried to get me into this care placement 2019 without consent, and I noticed in contract law how it all should be done correctly. Well, no disrespect, I rejected for cause without dishonour. And everything was propagated. So when you cut off a part of your brain, your life, to deal with future traumas that reoccur and trigger, the brain goes into dissociation. They look for abilities in people, and in kids when they're younger, has ability to disassociate from such severe trauma in their lives. And so Tavistock Institute and goes back quite deep in history, how a certain bloodline of families, and uneducated after all, one can research that if you want. It shows you information why that bloodline needs to be kept pure. So it's a bit like, as I said to start with, the tribe of Dan and the tribe of Cain. And anybody knows their scriptures or studies, they know what those 2 tribes mean. So I'm meant to be, apparently, from the tribe of. I don't know which side of the bloodline of my family side comes from though, so, and I haven't looked into genealogy research myself. All I know, I'm trying to survive from being tortured to death. Physically. Emotionally, I'll survive. Is a case that happened to. And the brain interface, well, they're hacking into me without consent, and I demand compensation. For those that are blocking services that I know is lawful and correct and factual, what's been going on, I demand compensation and a remedy with the talk. I have been harmed in so many ways, I can't even tell you. They've harmed me, ability to function in my daily life. Nobody, not my private life friends, they're alright with me. We get by best we can in the circumstances I'm left to live in. It's not caused by them. It's not caused by me. It's by these other third-party agents working for these companies, public and private, that are interlinked. And they have sold out. They've been lied to, denying me services in the middle of. You don't delay servicing my medical equipment for 2 years. Because they have to make me look incompetent to handle my own affairs, which is not the case. I can do it myself effectively without all these triggers and setups. I don't watch television. I don't watch TV programming. They see me as a threat. What kind of threat could I be to anyone else? No, I don't go out my way to harm anyone. You don't cause common law offences. I'm not, and this is what they do psychologically, don't they? So they send round, right, you've got a flat freeze, she's used. I'm going to put a leg for my protection. She's used as an MK Ultra slave kitten to be halved out for certain favours, if you know what I mean. And she's only about 19. No 18-year-old gets a new flat straight away, they think brand new. Unless you're part of the Satanists and the club and the occult. You don't get to keep your job, just on your good merits. No. And you don't have like that former guy who lied about me and my 2 cats when I first moved in. They were harmless, by the way. They knew they have to gradually take things you're attached to, that you love, you treasure, away from you, to shatter your mind. So they lied about my cats. Beautiful 2 little cats and harmless I had on my old house. And I had everything in writing, confirm I could keep them. I was able-bodied then. And what's his name? I've forgotten what it's called now. But the former guy that was number 7, he lied and cheated the system. And he is wheeling dealing in antiques as well as cheating the system. You cannot smell. There's no wee smell in my flat at all, by the way. And you can't smell cats under the bloody door frame. What idiots. So he lied about me to the housing company to start with. And that began it all, didn't it? Do you think I could trust anybody after that? The major issue. And then that wasn't good enough, was it, for the MK Ultra? So to make sure there's a guy that jumps the curb on the path I'm standing on, and the back wheel of the car runs me over. 9 witnesses I've got. I've still got to print out the medical ambulance reports, how many calls I've made. And there is a garden angel. She's brown hair. She's not laid, I was laid on the floor. Head injury, spine injury, you name it, leg injury. And she'd laid on the floor next to me. All I can say, there's hardly anything I could say. And then somehow she rang up my family member, who was then talking to me. And then my late mum, bless her heart, her 2 church friends came down to hospital. Oh, the police didn't show up again, Freemasons. What's wrong with you? The ambulance crew did. But she definitely was gone. I don't know. All I can remember is her lovely brown hair. Yeah, I'm waking up in a hospital bed. And the negligence of the hospital didn't x-ray my head, my spine. They're more concerned about the footprint of the back car wheel over my left ankle. But yet the police lied and said that I jumped in front of the car. I stepped. How could I step in front of the car when it was the back wheel that ran my left foot over? Duh. And they interviewed the driver, and I didn't know that this was all predestined, pre-planned. I didn't know, did I? So I had insurance in my flat at the time, lawyer's insurance. So when I contacted the personal injury lawyer to sue the driver, they said they can't do anything. Oh, because the police said I jumped in a walk. Well, not jumped, but I walked in front of the car. No, it wasn't true. So when I tried to get my records, data protection, my own records, well, that was a cover-up. That's been denied for a long time, always since. And but luckily, I've got these printouts to show how many police calls, and I did try to take them on. Oh, you don't get anywhere when you're a Freemason. If you're a Freemason and part of the club, you might get someone. But if you're not part of the club, you're not satanic, and you haven't done your sacrifices for their satanic ritual abuses, then you're not going to get anywhere. Yeah, I survived, but my late mum, the blessings of her and her church friends, I can't thank them enough. Without their help and adjusting to the change of my physical body, and everything since then, I don't know what I'll be doing. All new to me, all this. Always fit and healthy, and suddenly not. And it's a very difficult transition, very difficult. And then having abuse by physical carers in your own home, dropping their cooking oil on my body, dropping the shower head on my head. All this was documented, by the way. All the diaries, all the dates, all the names, what happened, photographs, evidence was all documented and reported. Did anyone got held accountable? No. And why was that? 2 females against me. Who are they going to believe? My word against 2 of them? I've had years of that, and it ended up being 6 females a day, 12 days a week. Yeah. There was a couple of really decent carers, really nice ones, old school, had really good hearts. But the new ones, this company thought profit before they thought about disabled people. And they didn't give monkeys. And I didn't know what my rights were. I didn't know nothing. And I soon began finding one company that bust the blackmail I had. Oh, we got to do, you can't live here. We can't. Oh my God. Excuse me. The disrespect when I reported it all awfully. What's going on? He was doing what and how. And my life was being put in danger. Being dropped off the hoist. Being injuries to my body. What was I meant to do? How was I meant to protect myself? It's in my own home. And if you don't get anywhere reporting it through the official channels, and they don't do nothing, what the hell are you meant to do? By 2014, I had to stop them coming in. I had to stop the physical abuse. Thank gosh I built up my friendships over the years. and they just took over. It's not ideal, my private arrangement, but it's better than what it was, put it that way. So these public servants began a campaign of hate or negativity, attacking my life, my character, going and using housing company agents as well. And you name it, they were doing it. And it's like, it took me, it set up in March 2017, then the home base in 2017. Then throughout that year, they went to town. They really wanted revenge. What? Because I stood up for myself, so to speak, and learnt law and did it lawfully. And when they harmed me and blackmailed me, said you've got no choice but to go in this place or that place, 3 different care placements. And the last one, I got my whole back burnt in a hot bath of boiling water. And when I got robbed, by the way, beginning of this year, one of the old phones had a picture of that evidence on. I'll never forget these injuries I sustained. And I'll never forget the treatment I sustained. One of the placements, I met this wonderful lady. She had a permanent brain injury from birth. So she's in an environment, I shouldn't be in there in the first place, but an environment where these people that couldn't control, it's like they're born with a brain injury. Mencap, it's a UK charity, I think it's a company as well. Anyway, and yeah, the wiring of the brain, whether it's from birth or something else, and they need to be in that kind of environment. You can see that, and I witnessed all that, but I didn't need to be there. And they didn't think I'll realise that. You see, they thought all the shouting and all these people that can't control their behaviours would affect me. No. I have compassion. And one lady, a young girl, befriended, and she was just a really good sweetheart. I still got a little teddy bear she gave me. And my families that wanted just to leave them there. Whatever, it's their business. But I got out of there. And I got displaced in another place eventually. And that's where I had the horrific treatment. And it took me, they didn't like me to learn the basics of law then. So it took me about 4 weeks to get back home. Oh, and I didn't get a choice of a new care company. No. The one they pushed upon me, which years later, I found out, were employed to do these abuses to me. So the company eventually stopped trading. And the public servants in the company went bust. It's all over the news. As to incorporate the new Agenda 2030 non-accountable public funded company. Nothing new, but it's more a quango environment. But that individual CEO, she was positioned for that job. So any new offers of goods and services, I was led to believe meant to be happening since my heart attack and stroke. Well, by the year 2021 was in the void. And I found out years later that the report 2019, maladministration in every subject, every angle, every regard. There never was a remedy, and I could never trust them again. Never. And this is where we come to. The housing company agents didn't like that because they were releasing without my consent behind my back to get me moved out of there. They lied and manipulated, said they can't do the repair on the bathroom unless I move out. Financially, impossible. Practically, none and void. And with my private arrangements, completely impossible. So, reference to people, disabled people in England, similar situation. None of these housing companies had any training, experience, medical, health care, disability awareness, and whoever they hired to offer the free daily repair job. Well, they had an agenda and they went back. The procurement contract they had, their agents went back and moaned they couldn't get in till 8 o'clock at all in the mornings. That's all it was about, I found out. And so it's been like that ever since. Any offer would be first a morning appointment for gas boiler or 5 years electricity check, right? And then I'll be weekend to claim it back to offer afternoon appointments and I'll finish with personal care. Simple. But they've made a big issues of it for so long now. But the perpetrators live around here. Straight away, no problem. But me, I'm the one that gets singled out. So, keep a recording of this. No doubt you'll manipulate the recording. The radiation effects on top of this program is very high. You jam this main internet connection, so nobody comes through into the chat. Put international. Put in the targeted program is international. But why? Yeah. Why? Well, let's have a look.
Zone in a safe space for the downtrodden, kicked around, robbed, raped, and abused. Art and events. Yeah. Hope everyone's hey, look here. Hope everyone because, well, let me pick it up and do it like this. Hey, am I breaking up? Normally I don't break up with a doggone. As long as I don't leave in advice, I don't break up. It's I'm so sorry. Look, Some of y'all have more than one, what do you call it? More than one account. So it's like, but, I came out here right now. So I was meditating for like 2 minutes, and I was like, you know what? I'm going live. This little peace thing. This is beautiful because on my channel, 50% or more of the people aren't even in America or Canada. So for like, artist targeted artists, things of this nature, even so South America, Brazil, excuse me. Let's see who else needs a shout out. Oh, that's right. Oh, Steve and the Netherlands. Can't leave out an article. Okay. Then you have, what's that? Aussie. And then New Zealand, then South Africa. Oh man, all over the place. Is this not freaking amazing? Anyhow, I don't know how they're spoofing signals in Brazil, but kudos. I was going to go on the StreamYard and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I need to do this right now. I get the trigger, okay, trigger in the UK. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm subscribed to you. Hey, I'm season. Wait a minute, is that the same? Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Hey, the UK is. Do you know most Americans don't even know that the Bobbies in the UK, the cops, they don't even carry weapons. All they have is a baton. It's like, my God, man, you're kidding me. You want me to go apprehend someone without a firearm? I don't know what you're smoking, but you need to flush that trash. What are y'all doing? What time is it? Hey, what time is it in the UK? But don't get me wrong. That's why, hey, look, spirit faith, look, hey, that's why, look, you don't stop and think about it. But that's why they bring 3 and 4 of them on you at one time, 1:20 a.m. in the UK. That's why they bring 3 and 4 bobbies on someone at one time. Very rarely are there one on, and there, even if there is, there's backup not far away. So, anyhow, hope everyone's doing okay. I was meditating. Yo, I keep hitting this doggone sweet spot. Some jackwagon took the pillow out of my chair out here, and they know I have spinal issues and stuff. Oh goodness, forgive me. Oh Lord, my hips and knees and stuff, y'all. Come on, can I get on this? Sound like a little bitch on the live stream. But I am outside. It's like, what? I think it's about 26, 24 degrees. I love it. No, it's probably only about 30 right this second. 32, 34, something like that. That's Fahrenheit for the rest of the world. So, hey, what's going on in the UK? Like, I know it snows like ass over there in the UK. People in Wisconsin and Minnesota and Michigan think they have it bad. There's some parts of the UK that trash will ice over for like 3 or 4 months straight. That's horrible. I couldn't imagine. I guess if you're used to it, as long as you have some warm, what, to keep you in check. Whatever. This is love-making weather. 5G, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, it is cold. Hey. Oh, yeah, those 5G towers, good grief. And then, they also couple Stingray, which is what the cops use, or the law enforcement, whatever you call it, the Crown. So they, oh, good Lord, they got us. They have us anyway. I hope everyone hangs in there. I thought I'd go live for a minute and see if anyone wanted to chat and stuff. Hey, hang in there, all right? Oh, yeah, I bet so. It's horrible in the UK. I've seen the footage. I mean, you can sit here and go on and on. Oh, yeah, same to you. You can sit here and go on and on about our opinions and our wants and our needs and our lives and all of this, regardless of what anyone thinks, myself included. You cannot change facts. It is irrefutable, documented, especially documented video evidence. And listen, and most of us, we are highly intelligent. We're dealing with a fair amount of intellect and a whole lot of common sense. So when we hear someone talk, we don't even need to see the video footage. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like you can hear the conviction in their voice. These types of things. I didn't say anybody's perfect, All right. Hey, is anyone suicidal? I have to ask. Wait, scratch that. Does anyone feel like they're on the verge of committing suicide? Let me phrase that. I'll give you 1 minute here. Because it isn't a joke and it isn't a game. I mean, people are getting screwed with, jacked with, killed, raped, murdered, maimed, robbed. I mean, it's ridiculous. This is just a reality. Oh, yeah, that's what they want. Oh, hey, for the record, I don't know if you're under a new avatar or what, but anyhow, let me put it to you this way. The past few months, I really went off into the weeds. I mean, MF and I mean F bombs. I even said GD 2 or 3 times on a live stream. I don't even say that word. I rarely even cuss. I mean, listen, I struggle with cussing. That's public. I've been struggling for years, 2 or 3 years trying to quit cussing. Just as an own individual thing. Because see, I don't care if other people cuss, but when I cuss, it lowers my vibration. And I don't like that. My energy's precious, just like your energy's precious. Where I was going with that is, look, I'm going to shut up. Hey, as long as no one's on the verge of committing suicide, we're good, man. So all your weapons, sharpen your knives and follow me. I lead from the front.
As an individual. And on that note, palms of spiritual warfare and attacks.
Friend, when you decide to serve God, to do His will, and obey His word, we took sweet counsel together and walked to the house of God in the throng. Let death seize them. Let them go down alive into hell, for wickedness is in their dwellings and among them. As for me, I will call upon God, and the Lord shall save me. Evening.
I'm not going to read it.
She's too young. She don't know. Well, you got a place to live. I haven't. Yeah. So I'll go for it. But she got a place to live. She's able-bodied, and I'm not. No, no. This is Going to the channel out. She's got offered. How did she get offered? She got offered a brand new place to live. She's able-bodied, right? She had all that 7 grand or something funding hotel for this past year, and then she goes and cries wolf to a doctor, and she gets a place just like that. When disabled people are waiting years to get rehoused safely, and she gets a new build place just around the corner where she lives. So what strings does she pull? And yeah, I don't think she knows certain things, but she doesn't know yet how manipulated the world really is, and very demonic. Yeah, she's definitely, yeah, she's never experienced a place where, you know, she 6 foot tall. And I out this woman years ago. Yeah. But she's not in a certain band level yet. Knowing there's a bigger picture behind it. It's not just these people that run channels, and I've had loads of situations people failed to help, and this is do it, and I skip through right to the end.
Calls, and I've mentioned 27th of January this year. 3 hours and 41 minutes in, have a look in the live chat, and you can see Lost Souls Paranormal, his moderator, saying to me, one woman vigilante, you've got a lot of love here, heart, whatever, heart. They like doing these hearts, don't they? And then immediately after that, Artifacts saying, how is Darren? So they're obviously, the Police Abusing Powers channel were, you know, inviting me in. There's been a lot of hearts and kisses from Dan's moderators with hearts, Lost Souls Paranormal. And then another one of them saying, how is Darren? So they're taking an interest in me, my circumstances. And then Tina Chave was in the live chat when I said, why won't you take another call from me, after she offered me help, which, yeah, I believe it was that live stream that I've just played with Dan and Tina was the 20th April.
You try and live a life like mine. So many people go through situations trying to keep going. All I just document the facts. Even when you're just cut off on your goes on the reality. UK Freemason gang stalking, Starseeds and Effian attacks, brain interface technology, then a cover belt, the Nepian blood, yeah, banking control system. Then people do videos, not only me being targeted, also someone in USA showing the frequencies in their home. Then I'm showing about subjects about the weather, the way they are. You know, manipulation of the weather. And then, you know, it's, sometimes I wish I didn't know what I know. Agenda 2030 is what I've got planned, you know. They ain't got a plan yet in England how they're going to make sure to save people. And people basically relying on medical equipment, how they're going to keep going, the backup plan. Right, strange effects in sky, the memes, and going stalking UK Freemason housing. I found the old documents 4 weeks ago. You got they live non-human. You know, the evidence is out there. Newbury effect in UK and the comets. I mean, they come into Earth at the end of this year, beginning of next year, you know, in the sky. That's why the Project Bluebeam won't be too surprised. You know, the AI technology attacking the brain and frequency. I've got to refresh up in a minute because I've had enough of this. You know. Yeah, so just going through backup channel. You got the red and white, black and white cars, Freemason colours. Freemason Housing Company again, you know, it's the trauma. So evidence of Planet X and Wingwood and Newbury. You just need to look at the channel against the grain. A month ago I sent that. And it points out where the planets are in Scotland or where the camera. So I just happened, it's not my fault, you know, I just happen to have knowledge and know these things. So you go in our playlist on this channel anyway. You're going to, you got tips, you know, things I was taught from my mum. I try and pass on, it helps. And you got Dean Whittington, he explains a bit more. You got the total control, the digital 2030 ID, and Nephians, you know. And Bill Cooper. You knew or not, you know. Just be prepared. You got movies, but time travel, you know. You got earthquakes going off. You know, these are definitely end times. But mind controlling plants. I couldn't believe how far back this goes either until I found out. John Harris, UK contract law. Let me show you this one. He passed away. He had enough. You know, I don't know what really happened, but John Harris, It's an Illusion Part 2. There's 1 and 2. And it tells you what the real world. But then the secrets of the legal industry is this was just 11 years ago. This is Bar Association, all parts, memberships. I'll play it, I'll just show it. Secrets of the rich.
Well, if you're over 50, don't even think about life insurance until you hear this. You know, many people in the life insurance industry are absolutely furious about this little known policy for UK.
A few secrets that I believe will enable you to win. If I'm sitting there and I'm listening to me, what I would be here to find out is tell me how to win. I want to know, how do I win? We've all been around this movement for 5, 10, 15 years, and we've all heard speeches, we've all been to seminars, we've all had this massive amount of information that we've been asked to absorb, assimilate, but it seems that the part of the formula that's missing is somebody needs to tell us how we use information to win. Are we somewhat in agreement with that? Okay, all right. So if I can tell you something that will empower you to win, I think we're all winners. And that's what I'm intending to do. And I'm going to try to make it a little bit of fun, too, because this struggle that we're all in has been so hateful and mean-spirited and downright dishonest that the only things that I can think of to compare our legal industry to that have happened in this century are things like the Gestapo, the Mafia. It's hateful. It's evil. But if you didn't have a little bit of comic relief, I think it would destroy you emotionally. So we're going to try to have a little fun with this today, too. So I'm not any kind of a big shot legal advisor or expert. In fact, kind of think of me this way. I'm kind of like your old kindly Uncle Luke, and Luke is my middle name. And remember that because it'll be important later. But it's kind of like I've come up behind you and I'm watching you playing checkers, and I notice a triple jump that you've overlooked. And I'm there whispering, you know, that you've overlooked. Take that triple jump, look, right there. And one of the things about the law business, the legal industry, is some of the most important things about law are actually so simple that they're easy to overlook. They're just absolutely so darn simple that in an effort to try to understand them, we make them way too complicated. And in an effort to try to lead this movement towards some new day when we can all achieve what we want to through the legal system, there are some false prophets. There's a lot of misinformation. And so one of the things that I hope to accomplish today is free you of your tether. You know what your goal is, and you've been struggling for years to reach that goal. But I'm here to tell you, friends, you probably didn't reach that goal because you're on the end of a tether and didn't realize it. And I want to cut that tether. I want to set you free of that tether by giving you a different approach and some different information. And there are only about 4 very simple truths. And if you know and understand these truths, you will be empowered to win. Nobody can guarantee a win.
And I know this is triple jump.
Our legal system for some time to come is still going to be a crapshoot. But you can win, and we're going to actually look at 4 cases out of a goodly number of cases that I've worked on. These are real cases. And we're going to fit what I call the truths about the legal industry. We're going to see how those are actually threaded into these pleadings and how this empowers us to win. If you walk into a courtroom and you see a flag, and that flag has gold fringe around it, do you think that that means that you're in a military court or a court of admiralty or maritime jurisdiction? How many have heard that? How many believe it? How come? How come? Why? Okay. Here is the first truth which I have to share with you. That court does not get its jurisdiction from that flag. It doesn't even matter if there even is a flag there. That flag does not confer jurisdiction on that court. Here's the first great secret. Where does the court get its jurisdiction? Well, first of all, there are actually 2 levels of courts. We have a 2-tiered court system. There are the Supreme Courts and their tribunals. There are courts of inferior jurisdiction. And I imagine most of the minds in this room are clicking and say, yeah, I've been in some of those inferior courts, and they sure are inferior. Now, when we're talking about Supreme Courts, like the United States Supreme Court and the Oklahoma Supreme Court, where do they get their jurisdiction? They get their jurisdiction because of who they are. They are constitutional courts. But what about these courts of inferior jurisdiction? Where do they get their authority? Where? Kind of because they're legislative courts. Congress created the federal court system. It's not the Constitution. Congress created it to settle cases and controversy. But when a judge of an inferior court puts in a black room and walks into that room and the bailiff says, "All rise," is that person a judge at that moment? No. The reason they're not a judge at that moment is because they have not established jurisdiction. Because they don't have jurisdiction like these people do. Now, we know all of these struggles. We're in this level down here when we start our fight, or when we're pulled into that fight. Where do courts of inferior jurisdiction get their power to act? No. No. Yeah, you got it right. The courts of inferior jurisdiction are empowered to act by pleadings sufficient to invoke their judicial authority, which means that the people, not the attorneys, the people that walk into that court empower that person in a black robe to be a judge. That person is not a judge until actually four things happen. There's two very important things. How many remember Judge Wapner? Man, that guy was great. He was great. It's too bad that we can't clone him and send him up and let him be the Supreme Court. If you remember those old programs, Judge Wapner always began every court session with the same pronouncement. Do you remember what it was? "I've read your complaint. I know you've been sworn." He never conducted a session until he said, "I've read your complaint. I know you've been sworn." Until he did that, he was not a judge. Because a judge is somebody that has judicial power. He did not have judicial power until he did that. Jurisdiction has four corners on it. It's a four-legged table. It's not a three-legged table or a two-legged table or one-legged table. It's a four-legged table. And if you take away one of those legs, it's not a court anymore. It won't stand. It'll fall down. And we are going to understand how we put four legs under that table. And we're going to understand what we can do if our money or property was taken in a three-legged deal. We'll learn how to do that. It's possible. Now, so that's the first secret. Now, y'all seem to be somewhat embraced of that, so maybe it's not a great shocking secret to you. But the reason I mention it is determine what your winning point is and focus on it. Plead your winning point. Don't go into a courtroom and tell the judge, "I'm not going to step in front of this bar," because you'll get jurisdiction. Or, "I want you to move that flag," because that's the wrong jurisdiction. That's tether. That's holding you back. You don't win with that stuff. At least I don't know anybody that does. You win when you know how to invoke the court's jurisdiction, when you empower that judge to make the decision that you want that judge to make. Now then, if we get our marvelous Constitution, and our Constitution is marvelous. By that I mean our United States Constitution is marvelous. If we go to a certain article in that Constitution and we read it, like the Second Amendment or First Amendment or whatever we're thinking we're pursuing, Fifth Amendment, whatever, we read that Constitution, are we informed of what the law of the land is? No. No. That's the second great secret, is the Constitution, state constitutions, statutes, laws, rules, what meaning do they have as you read them in their black and white print? True, but we won't go there. As far as what they mean to us, they don't really mean anything except a hint, a suggestion of what the law is. Because we have a common law system. The American common law system is arguably based on the English common law system, which I think is actually based on Viking law, but that's another story for another day. But we have a common law system. Now, I know that there's probably some controversy about what's meant by common law, but a common law system means that you can't read the Constitution, the statute, rule, or anything else and know what it means because there is a cluster of organizations that rules and determines and tells you what it means. And that's back over here. That's these Supreme Court people. The Supreme Court tells you what that means. You think the Second Amendment gives you the right to keep bear arms? Maybe. But who do you have to ask what the Second Amendment means? The court. They're guys that tell you this is what this law means. You waste a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of energy, and get false hopes and get crushed if you read some statutes or some rules or some constitutional articles and start thinking that that establishes a basis for whatever you want to accomplish. The Constitution, the statutes, and the rules, as far as we're concerned, are largely silent because they don't tell us what the law is. To find out what the law is, we have to find out what the Supreme Court has said that that particular law means. Now, that's the second great secret. But it's really pretty simple stuff because we have a means of finding out what the law is. It's written down. We can go read it. We can rely on it. We can use it. And if we're in a court of competent jurisdiction, it's fair, open, and honest, which is not a given, is it? But we can win, can't we? Where do we find the common law? Where do we find this common law that we can rely on?
Money for hacking.
There's only one type of book that has this common law. It's the federal and state annotated statutes. Now, if you can go on the internet and find the federal and state annotated statutes, are better web browser than I am. Because, again, that's a secret. They don't want you to know that. If you can read the annotated statutes, now you know what the law is. Now you're empowered to act. You can go into a law library, and I often do, over at the state capitol. There must be 100,000 books in there. I don't know, maybe several 100,000. But when I go in there, I go right back to the state annotated statutes. Because I know that all those other books are probably philosophy of law. Those annotated statutes are going to tell me what the law is. By reading them, I'm going to know what the law is. And here's another thing that's really kind of shocking, or maybe shocking, it was shocking to me when I discovered it, is I used to have the belief that if I was going to know enough about law to actually argue effectively, man, I was going to have to spend thousands of hours in a law library. And I spent probably several thousand hours in a law library. But you're way overshooting your mark because it's not complicated. It's actually very simple. Because the annotated are not going to publish law cases. They're going to refer to them as the decision, but they're going to publish the holding. They're going to tell you the essence of that decision. And that essence of that decision out of that case is that one paragraph, that one sentence, or maybe just that one phrase that you need to win, and that's all you need if you know how to use it. At this time, I'm going to ask my associate, Mark Mays, to read a case. He's going to read a case in its entirety. This is going to be the only case I'll read today because, to me, there's a lot of things I'd rather do than read a case. But we're going to read one to illustrate this point. Mark Mays is going to read a case called Trenzi versus Pagliaro. Trenzi versus Pagliaro is one of the most important cases that has ever been decided by the United States Supreme Court. And he's going to read it, and as he reads it, I want us to listen for the holding of the case.
Trenzi versus Pagliaro. Action to nullify an outstanding deed and remove a cloud on title to certain premises. Defendants move to dismiss. The district court Wood J held that the fact that a state in person action acting tax of a trustee might be revived did not preclude federal court from taking jurisdiction of an in rem action, nor was court precluded from taking jurisdiction by virtue of pending arbitration proceedings, which would not determine title to the land involved. Motion denied. Courts. Fact that a state in person action acting acts of a trustee might be revived did not preclude federal court from taking jurisdiction of an in rem action, nor was court precluded from taking jurisdiction by virtue of pending arbitration proceedings, which would not determine title to the land involved. 2. The courts. There is no bar to parallel federal and state actions where each court has jurisdiction over the persons. Federal civil procedures. Statements of counsel in the briefs or arguments are not sufficient for purposes of granting a motion to dismiss or for summary judgment. Federal Rules Civil Procedures 12B. Cohen, Shapiro, Berger, and Cohen by David Berger and Herbert B. Newberg, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for the plaintiff. Silver and Barsky by J.D. Barsky, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for defendants. Wood, the district judge. This case arises out of a dispute over the extent of the plaintiff's ownership interest in a tract of land of approximately 47.6 acres, located in Gulf Mills, Pennsylvania, known as Rebel Hill. By an agreement dated April 29, 1960, the land was taken by the plaintiff and the defendant, Pagliaro. On May 9, 1960, pursuant to a second agreement between the parties, title was transferred to a trustee straw party, Howard Richard Esquire, for the benefit of Trenzi and Pagliaro. Thereafter, on May 13, 1960, Pagliaro and his attorney, Albert Foreman Esquire, procured a blank deed from the straw party and his wife. It is this blank deed that the plaintiff, by his civil action filed with this court, seeks to have nullified. Following the delivery of the blank deed, the straw party, Richard, executed a deed on November 29, 1962, conveying Rebel Hill to Trenzi and Pagliaro as tenants in common. This deed was recorded in the office of the Recorder of Deeds for Montgomery County. A civil action was commenced by Pagliaro in Montgomery County in December 1962 against Trenzi and Richard as defendants in the Court of Common Pleas on the ground that Richard, at the instance of Trenzi, violated his duties as a trustee when Richard executed the November 29, 1962 deed in favor of Trenzi and Pagliaro. This action resulted in a mistrial, and Trenzi filed a petition to have a case referred to arbitration before the American
down from that. I'm getting all this hacking. Sign out from that.